Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to the video, and today I'm going to be talking about what my top 10 favourite games are. It's got to be one of my most frequently asked questions. I'm just going to nail this parachute guy. There we go. So I'm going to tell you what my top 10 favourite games are, because it is one of my most frequently asked questions, and so I'm going to answer it in the form of a video. So do enjoy. Number 10. So, starting from number 10 and counting down to number 1, this is Sonic the Hedgehog, of course, on the Sega Genesis, or the Sega Megadrive as it was known in Europe. I don't know why it had a different name, but that was a thing, apparently. It needed 2 names. So, yes, this came out in the good old year of 1991 when I was but a wee lad, and it was undoubtedly what got me into computer gaming. It was technically my first game and my first console, back in the day. So yeah, this had to be on the list at some point. It couldn't be number 1 because, it's old, but it is a classic and I definitely had to include it. Number 9. So, was it just me, or did the theme tune for this game sound a little bit like the Stargate SG-1 theme tune? Yes, this is the Fable series. Now this is the trailer in particular for the remake/revamp for the Xbox 360. I believe this was released on the other consoles, the Anniversary Edition, but I liked all the Fable series 1 through 3. I'm not going to include the Kinect game because the less said about that the better. Apparently the latest one has been completely canned, which could be a shame, or maybe it could be a good thing, because the last impressions of that were not looking too great. Let's be honest, but it's always a shame when a game never manages to get released. Maybe we'll still see it in some iteration, but probably not. But this was Fable, the original, and it was one of the best RPG adventure games I've ever played. And it's just so quintessentially British. The Demon Doors, they were amazing. It was just brilliant. Such humour, great story. Wasn't as amazing as we thought it was going to be. I mean, Peter Molyneux, the guy who made it, did hype it up just a little bit too much. But if you've not played it, it's still worth going back and checking it out, because what a game it was. What a game it was. Number 8. So, what is this? Well, I was looking for a trailer, but this is Shenmut on the Sega Dreamcast, which was Sega's last forte into the console market. I was hoping to get a trailer, but there was nothing in remotely HD, because it's so old now, 7 or 8 years old. There was nothing available on YouTube that wasn't like a fan remake trailer or anything of that ilk, so I just got the actual game here. So, do enjoy that, nostalgia fans. So what was it? It was an incredibly advanced game for its time, featuring such things as dynamic weather systems, which was kind of unheard of back in the Dreamcast/PS2 era. So Sony beat Sega in this console war, pretty much by buying up all the third-party game companies, so it kind of left the Dreamcast with a lack of third-party support, or decent third-party game support, which is kind of what led to its demise, if we're honest about things. So, a bit of a dick move there, Sony, but, it's a console war, and they won. So what was the game about? Well, it was a, obviously, Asian title, but it did come out on the consoles and was fairly well dubbed into English. There is some pretty shaky voice acting in places, but it was a big open world RPG, as open world as it could get back then, and you really could go pretty much anywhere, do whatever you wanted, interact with a vast amount of things and people and objects, and there's no easy way to describe it, guys. It's best experience this game if you have the opportunity to play it. I do suggest you do. It was available on the Xbox 360, I believe, and the original Xbox, and I think the PS2 as well, and rumour has it the third one is eventually going to be available to buy. I believe it passed its Kickstarter asking price by a fairly large margin, if I remember correctly, so hopefully we're going to see a third iteration of the game at some point. Don't know what happened to the online one. That was going to be a thing, but apparently that is no more. Whether we'll see that as well is another question entirely. But it was a great game, and I really recommend you guys check it out if you have the opportunity to do so. Really good RPG, lots of fighting, some of the first appearances of quick timer events in games that don't suck, that are actually useful and do something to the story. And there was a lot of fighting in the game as well, quite an extensive fighting system underlying in the game there. And the story was just absolutely amazingly well done story. So, as I say, if you get the opportunity, I really recommend you do check it out, because it's one of the most underplayed, understated games ever created. I mean, if you heard about the hype for the third game, then you know you definitely missed something really good. So if you can, do. You must. Number 7. Well, unfortunately, thanks to Nintendo, this is the best quality and the best sound, which is no sound, quality that I can show to make my point about my 7th most favourite game, which is the Legend of Zelda series. Now, Nintendo will kill me, or, sue me if I do any more. So, yeah, really good game. Make sure you play it. But if you want to stream it or show it on YouTube, you're going to get butt-fucked by Nintendo. Number 6. So this is Battlefield 4 on the PC, Xbox, Xbox One, PS3 and PS4, because it was kind of on everything, which I guess it deserves to be, because it's a really good game. It's gradually getting better and better all the time, up until the point Battlefield 5 comes out, I guess, and then everybody leaves here and goes on to Battlefield 5, and then the few stragglers who remain behind still playing, because there are still people playing Battlefield 2, of all things, and Battlefield 3, and various mods of that. So, what makes it so good? Well, the destructible environment, the vast array of vehicles, vast number of game modes and maps, especially if you have the DLC. There is a lot of maps now. So, I guess it kind of caters for everybody. If you want to play Team Deathmatch, there's Team Deathmatch in close quarters. If you don't like vehicles, and if you do like vehicles, there's massive maps to be playing with jets and tanks and cars and quad bikes. So, yeah, it kind of caters for everybody, which is one of the things I think that is the main attraction to the game, is that there's something for everybody, regardless of the kind of first-person shooter games and scenarios you like to play. There is a bit of everything. So that is probably the main selling point for the game, and the reason I like it the most is there's always something different to be done. Number 5. This is, of course, Bioshock Infinite, which you may have already guessed from the makers' names popping up there. The quicker view out there will have noticed. So yeah, why was this so good? Well, I was a massive fan of all the Bioshock series, but this one especially because it did something different and unique, which is kind of what the old ones did as well, to be fair. So they carried on breaking the mold by doing something slightly different, by having a city in the clouds, and improving on what was already a really good series of games, and leaves us with an ending that people are still discussing and still analysing. Think of it like Lost, the video game. People are still, right now, on forums discussing how the ending is, because there's a lot of kind of time travel-y, other-dimensionally type of thingies going on. It's all very scientific. But without spoiling it, yeah, it's got one of the craziest endings in a video game yet, and I highly recommend that you definitely check this one out. It's a firm favourite of mine, and I'm sure it could be a firm favourite of yours. Number 4. Oh, would you look at that? Another RPG game. There's kind of a theme in this video. Yes, I am a sucker for a good RPG game, and Skyrim is no exception. One of the best games that Bethesda has ever done, in my opinion. I'm a big fan of the other Elder Scroll games in the series, so I'm not really singling this out. This is just, of course, the most recent iteration, and I enjoyed it greatly, and that is why it is on my list. So what makes this so good? Well, it's just as good as all the other ones, I guess. A lot of people have played this for the first time, having never played the other games, and still managed to have a really good time. That is just how good the game is. Of course, the inclusion of dragons is always great, because everyone loves dragons. Nobody doesn't like dragons. I can't say I've ever spoken to somebody who goes, hey, I don't like dragons. But of course, there is lots of fighting dragons in this game because you are the Dragonborn. And it is a beautiful adventure to have, it really must be said, in this game. Vastly different places to visit, numerous different characters and creatures and critters. It's just really a joy to go for a wander in the lands of Skyrim. Number 3.
Why the big hurry?
Perfect Dark on the N64. Coming in at the very end of the N64's life, pretty much in the year 2000, Perfect Dark was like the spiritual successor to Goldeneye, made by the same people, Rare, same exact studio, I believe, and the similarities are really, really apparent. But this will probably go down in history as probably one of the greatest FPS games there ever was that hardly anybody was lucky enough to play. If you still have an N64 kicking around, I do recommend getting this game as soon as you can because it was fantastic. You do need the expansion pack though for the N64 just to be able to run it. That's how crazy it was to make the game. They had to go the whole expansion route so the N64 was actually able to run it without exploding. So what made it so good? Well, they just went ham with the game. The array of weapons is crazy, the alien technology is crazy. Some of the craziest weapons include the laptop gun, which is one of my particular favourites, that folds into a laptop, but when you launch it as its secondary function, it becomes a tiny mini turret that you can throw to a wall. And thus friendships were made and broken in the multiplayer, which of course, just like GoldenEye, was just absolutely fantastic. One of the highlight weapons is probably the Farsight, I believe it was called. The alien sniper rifle, which you can find targets through walls. Yes, wall hacks. Back in the very, very early days. The game was just an absolute joy in multiplayer and single player, and the story was pretty good too. So if you do get the chance to play it again, or if you still have it, dust it off and go play it, because what a game it was. It was just perfect. No pun intended. Number 2. So the Mass Effect series is making it to my number 2 slot. So the first Mass Effect, really good game. Second Mass Effect, really good game. The third Mass Effect, really good game, pretty shitty ending. Let's be honest, it was a pretty shitty ending. I mean, there was multiple choice, but it was kind of a you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't kind of ending. It was kind of disappointing for BioWare. So disappointing, in fact, that they made a big bit of DLC, which was for free, I believe, that sort of changed a few things and silenced the fans slightly, but probably not as much as they wanted to. It was kind of surprising for BioWare to make such a boob with the end of a series. I know there is a fourth Mass Effect coming out sometime in 2017, but it's supposed to be completely standalone, but within the Mass Effect universe, so you're not going to see your Shepard character. He or she is going to be completely, well, gone, depending on what your choices were at the end of Mass Effect 3. So obviously, without any spoilers, there's not going to be a Shepard in the next Mass Effect, which is at the moment named Mass Effect Andromeda. I think that's its final title now. So yeah, until we get more details, at the moment it looks like Shepard is not going to be in it. So it's going to be a completely new character in a completely new section of the universe, probably the Andromeda Galaxy by the looks of things. Mass Effect is an incredible series to play, and you don't so much play it as experience it. So if you've not ever seen or played it, I recommend you go do it, like, right now. Picking out a sea of games for a top 10 was a difficult task, so here are some honourable mentions before I reveal the number 1.
Hello.
Hi. What? What? Hi.
Hey, you coming back for your AS50? There you go. I'm such a bastard.
It might identify as a fixed-wing aircraft, okay?
What? How's that guy still alive? Oh, he's not alive.
Get on the ground.
Oh,
Keep by the front. On the ground.
game's on.
On the ground.
On the ground, dude.
Get on the ground. Do not comply. Good.
No,
Stay on
the ground. Stay. Stay. If you do anything dodgy, you will be shot. Number 1. Okay, guys, here we go. Number 1. My favorite game, currently, of all time. Here's the trailer for it. Sorry it's not the greatest quality, but it's so old I was unable to find a HD copy. Did try emailing a few people, but this is the best I could get, so enjoy. I'm not going to say anything else.
Wipe this pathetic planet from the face of the galaxy.
The Force fights with me!
Get on those gun turrets!
Bring her to me.
All Republic forces pull back!
It is too late to retreat, Admiral. There is no escape for us. You are strong, child, but I will break you.
I'll never fall to the dark side.
This is but a taste of the dark side.